I decided to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to do a Q&A, and I may incorporate these, I don't know, every now and then. So, first, before I get started, I want to let you know, if you like these videos, make sure you go to my Patreon page. I'm totally teasing, I don't have a Patreon page. I don't do that. It's not bad. I just, I do this for fun and because I like to help you guys. So, here we go. First one from Alexander Mack, or Mock. I'm really bad with names, so sorry if I totally butcher your name. What do you think is the hardest type of pedal to get right? I think they're all hard, because I think if something just is really easy, then you didn't really try. So with a caveat, so let's say I'm trying to clone a tube screamer. I'm so familiar with a tube screamer, just because I've played one for years and have messed around with the circuit so many times over the past 16 years, something like that, that I just know my way around it a lot easier than if I was starting from scratch. So that is easier, but I still think to get it right, to get it sounding as good as I want it to sound, or as good as I think that others expect of us, certainly, I think it requires just a lot of effort, really, and that's a terrible way to put it, but it's got to sound right. It's got to be accurate to what like one of the best sounding tube screamers, and I've talked about this in other videos where all of them kind of sound a little bit different due to part tolerances and drift and everything else. I would want that to sound as good as it possibly could. I would want to put all the options on there that people who buy the pedals would want. Yeah, because I listen to customers a lot. I'm always watching to see what people say about the stuff we put out or the stuff that others put out. I like to hear people's opinions on that sort of thing. It's important to me. I would have to say, Alexander, that really they're all hard to get right and to get into production. In fact, so many times, almost every time, we'll build a prototype or two or three, and like, nope, change that, redo the whole layout, add this part, add this switch, change this filtering, like all kinds of things like that. There's a huge process of designing something, building the prototype, testing it, going back to the drawing board, changing things, build a prototype, test it, go back to the drawing board, change some things. So that happens several times with every pedal. And there are times where I just can't get it right, and so I just don't release it. I just don't. The 30-something pedal, for example, I'd been working on that for like 3 years until I finally released it. And I know some people like it wasn't what they expected, but at the time, I thought that was something people wanted. And some people do like that. Some people don't. I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. All right, from Jason Roudbush. I'm sorry, Jason. It's something like that. Have you ever considered a collaborative pedal with another builder, similar to what JHS and Boss did with the Angry Driver? I'd love to see a Wampler and Earthquaker collaboration. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I've talked to a lot of different guys about it. A Keeley collaboration would be fun. Maybe something with Josh from JHS. I mean, there's all kinds of guys. TC and Matthews Effects. I love Rick, super sweet guy. Catalan Bread. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that I really admire in the industry. Joel from Chase Blue. I mean, there's a bunch of people that would be so much fun to do. The problem really comes down to when you're not selling direct to customer, like Love Pedal, for example, is pretty much he builds pedals. People go to his website and buy them, or to Reverb or eBay or whatever. Where our model's different. We build pedals. Then a distributor gets the pedal, they sell it to a retailer or another distributor if it's internationally, and then that distributor sells it to a retailer. It gets really sticky and really hard to kind of manage everything, whether it's finances and customer service and all this other stuff that goes along with it, warranties. It gets really hard to manage, like, who, you know, if Bob in England or Bob in Denmark has a problem with a pedal, whose job is it to provide customer service for that? Whose job is it to fix a bad switch or a dirty pot or a broken battery cable or whatever the case may be? That gets sticky. I think in situations like that, it gets real easy to kind of lose friendships over that thing, where people start pointing fingers and like, no, that should be your job. And you say, well, but I thought that was going to be your job. I'd rather keep the friendships. I really would. So I would love the idea of collaboration, maybe on a small scale. Maybe we get together and build 5 or something, or 10 or 20 or whatever, and just sell direct to consumer or something like that. That'd be a lot of fun. I'd be open to that. Okay, and Ryan Burke from the 60 Cycle Hum podcast and YouTube page and Facebook pages and Facebook groups, Ryan Burke asks, boxers or briefs? Ryan, I don't think you can really pin a man down like that. I think it just depends on the day. It depends on the outfit that I'm wearing. You know, maybe I'm wearing something really nice and I got to go with the briefs on that day. Maybe it's more casual. I'm looking for boxers. Maybe it's super casual and I'm not wearing either. You know, I mean, there's always that possibility. Okay, out here by the goat stuff. So anyways, Chris Haney asks, midi, or is it away from the simplicity that I find with Wampler pedals? Programmable settings, if not midi. I would say it's definitely something we're interested in. Without giving too much away, I would say expect to see more things along this line in the future. Bigger chances in the pedal market in general. I think we're going to do a lot of fun and exciting things in the months and years to come. And so yeah, it's not out of the question at all. Sean Hebert asks, what makes you decide to revise a pedal or make a deluxe version? P.S. Love the Sovereign. Wish I could have the boost on a foot switch instead of a toggle. Well, Sean, that's a very good question. What makes us decide to revise a pedal and make a deluxe version? Everything is driven around what our customers ask us, whether it's email, whether it's Facebook comments, whether it's YouTube comments, podcast emails, all that sort of thing. Twitter stuff, Instagram stuff, Snapchat stuff. Any way that you contact us, every time that you do, that generally gets sent to me and I see it and I contemplate it and I think, I wonder if anyone else would like this. I should listen closely and see what others say. That's really what drives everything. It's basically what our customers want. And other times, maybe they don't know they want it, but it still becomes a very cool pedal. Like, for example, we had the Underdog pedal that people wanted us to reissue. I thought a better way to do it, and also Brad thought a better way to do it, was to create the Paisley Deluxe, which has that Underdog side and 95% of the Paisley drive, of the standard Paisley drive side. That's kind of what drives that sort of thing. As far as having the foot switch on a toggle versus a stomp switch, I know, I mean, it goes both ways. So we have the Pinnacle Deluxe and Standard, right? Originally, the earlier Pinnacle Deluxe was basically the exact same thing as the Standard, the only difference being that the boost switch was on a stomp style versus a toggle. I think it actually kind of confused people. They were too similar. When you have like 25 products in a line, you really can't have, if you have too many products out there, you start kind of cannibalizing things. So you start losing some customers because there's too many choices. So for example, I think it would be a bad idea for us to have 6 different types of Sovereigns because it's kind of paralyzing. It's like, let's say you're looking at cars to buy and they have all these options and they're all the same price. And you're like, I just don't know. I can't make up my mind which one that should be. That could be frustrating. As a consumer, I mean, at least to me, it's frustrating to have so many choices that you're just not sure. That's kind of my thought there. Anyways, I'm sure that if you could find the space in it, I don't know if you might be able to find the space to change the toggle switch, move it over to one side, the on and off switch, move it over to one side, and then maybe hardwire another stomp style switch where the old toggle is, or I'm sorry, take that old toggle out, take a hard stomp style switch, put it on the other side of the box, connect all the wires. There may be room in there to do that. I don't know. That'd be kind of an intricate mod, though. Not intricate in a way that it'll take some time, and your enclosure will now have a big hole in the middle of it, so that's kind of ugly. I guess you could rehouse it. I guess you could do that. But then that's kind of a pain in the butt because there's so many pots and so many pots and, you know, where the jacks are and all that kind of stuff. It all has to be perfect or it's not going to fit in the box. And since we make our own boxes, it's not a standard Hammond box. I don't know if you guys knew that. Yeah, we actually make our own enclosures. If you open it up, you'll see Wampler on the inside in the molding. So anyways, yeah, hope that helps. All right, and then lastly for today, Derek Milhon? Terrible names. Derek asks, I personally would love to see more recommended settings for effect pedals from the distributor. Since you guys know these pedals like the back of your hand, considering there were certain tones and sounds you were shooting for upon creation, and you could show settings to show how versatile some effects are. And a few companies already send you a few settings, but there are a lot of guitarists out there buying effects with untrained ears, so they're always asking for settings info. Derek, I mean, I've done a video on this before where I kind of showed you can't always go by the settings in a manual or on a website or what your buddy's using on his pedal or anything like that, because it's really so radically individual, even player to player. We've done videos before, like whenever I was doing the podcast thing here with Travis and Max, where we would pass a guitar, the same guitar, same settings, and it would just sound different between each one, just because our playing styles are that different. I mean, I guess you could put some places to start from, but if you're playing through a Vox versus a PV Classic 50, or Classic 30, or a Blues Junior, or an Orange Rocker Verb 50, or basically whatever amp you're going into, you may have to crank the treble up, bass down, mids up, mids down. I mean, EQ wise, it's going to be all over the place where it should be set. Volume, I just usually set to unity, and maybe a little bit touch higher, maybe if you want a little bit more volume when you turn it on. Gain, that's how much gain do I want? Do I want just a hint of overdrive? Do I want a bunch of gain? Generally not so, just because you get lost in the mix. Unless I'm playing by myself, then I like a lot of the gain because it covers up all my sloppy playing. That's such a hard thing to ask. It's kind of like, how much ketchup should I put on my cheeseburger? You know? How much pizza sauce am I going to use on this pizza? Well, if you like pizza sauce, you can put a lot of it on there. You know, how much cheese? Well, depends if you like a lot of cheese or not. So that's a really hard question to answer because it's so specific to the exact guitar, pickups, amp and its settings, speaker, which speaker you have. Is it 212, 412? What kind of, what brand of speaker is it? I mean, like all this stuff really plays such a big part on it. I almost honestly feel like it's almost a disservice to put out those suggested settings, because it may sound absolutely wonderful when I write the settings in the manual on this particular amp with these particular settings, with this particular speaker, etc., etc. But whenever you get it on your amp and with your guitar, maybe it sounds completely horrible, and now you think that our pedal sounds bad because the suggested settings from the manufacturer sucked. And in reality, that wasn't the right settings for that particular amp. So, hope this helps you, man. So I hope you guys like this video. Hope it's answered some questions you may have. I have a gigantic amount of questions that we got for the Q&A thing. I probably will be doing some more over the coming weeks, months, years, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If you guys hate this video, then obviously you vote with your views and your comments. If you love this video and love these types of videos, make sure you let me know in the comments. And I will see you in a couple days with a new video. See you guys later.